Before we start today's show, let me tell you about the Oxford Exxon located on Highway 6 West. Go in today, get your $4.99 lunch special. It is red beans and rice. That's 2 sides bread, 32-ounce drink. And when you fill up at the pump, use the Speed Pass Plus app, use the Mobile Rewards program. Tons of ways to save time and money there with the Oxford Exxon. Head on in, get a daiquiri. So many options there at the Oxford Exxon or next door at the Oxford Crystal with the maple bourbon shake and much more. Also, we're coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio, 662-257-1900, Highway 25 South there in Amory. Give Corey Clark a call, 15 minutes on a quote that you can shop around or just take. It's going to be your best deal. And then at the end of the deal, when you're ready to sign the paperwork, tell them about the podcast, $500 off. $500 off just for mentioning the podcast on your new Clark Ford there from Amory. And then as Christmas is barreling down on us, remember to check out Blue Delta, our partners at Blue Delta. They're again offering podcast listeners, rebelgrove.com subscribers, $100 off a gift card with Blue Delta. So if that's a present for yourself, if that's a present for a significant other, someone else, a great gift, a great stocking stuffer there from Blue Delta to get put in custom jeans. All you have to do is stop by their studio there in Oxford just off the square, or you can email them info@bluedeltajeans.com and take advantage of that special offer they are allowing for us. I know many of you taking advantage of it, and you should. So that is what is going on with some of our partners. And here's today's Tuesday Oxford Exxon podcast.
From the Clark Ford Studio in Oxford, Mississippi, MBW Digital proudly presents the Oxford Exxon podcast.
I'd say thanks for tuning in, but why am I going to give you a round of applause for something that you're supposed to do, to be frank?
And now, here are your hosts, Chase Parham.
That broadcast school has really paid off.
And Neal McCready.
I deserve to be on TV.
Welcome into this Tuesday edition of the Oxford Exxon podcast. Chase Parham, Neal McCready. We are using Skype today, but should be okay from a connection standpoint. We've got to the right technology in place to not have that screwed up too much. So I'm probably jinxing it, but nonetheless, shouldn't notice much of a difference this morning as we were having to use a little bit of a mobile version of the Clark Ford Studio. Several different podcasts coming your way. The Soft Verbal presented by Dead Soxy, already up on the site, already up in all the places that you listen to our podcast. That is Russell Johnson and Neal McCready. Looking forward to tomorrow, which is the opening of the early signing period for Ole Miss and all other college football programs. Also later today, a beer garden coming, college basketball style, with Chris Dortch of Blue Ribbon Yearbook. So that is your MPW podcast rundown as we get going this morning. Neal, you've had an early one. You've got a long day, a bit of traveling. You kind of a full week coming up.
Yeah, I do. I'm leaving literally the minute we finish recording this. And I'll be gone the rest of the week. But we never podcast on signing day, so we won't podcast tomorrow. We'll have something on Thursday, and then we'll probably start our Christmas break on Friday with the rest of the free world.
You know, you plan these things, and even, had Longo not gotten the Carolina job, I think still it would have been fine. We thought, well, look, the early signing period will get here. You get through Wednesday, and then kind of all hell will break loose after that, and we'll see what happens. Instead, no, best laid plans. Instead, Longo goes to Carolina. The offensive coordinator search begins earlier, and as we continue to hear, we'll start there because that is the segment of the news right now. It could definitely be done this week. We talked about that a little bit on yesterday's show, and frankly, Neal, there's nothing that's happened in the last 24 hours to make me think that potentially won't be the case if Ole Miss wants it to be.
Yeah, it's. I'm gonna be careful how I do this because I don't want to get people all worked up. I'm gonna go under the premise that it's going to go smoothly, and that it'll be done by probably the end of the week. But there's a scenario out there for it to get turned into a really big story. So we'll play it by ear. I'm not going to borrow trouble. I'm not going to go into scenarios that may never happen. I'll simply say that Will Hall interviewed yesterday, and it is my very educated opinion, but it's educated. It's really educated, that's who Matt Luke would like to hire. However, it is not a slam dunk on any level as of late yesterday that Will Hall's the next offensive coordinator at Ole Miss. It's just not a slam dunk on any level. And so people say, well, what does that mean? Well, there's more than one person making the decision at Ole Miss. And Will Hall's got a really good gig, and he knows it. And when people do this, they get angry. And you know as much as I do on this because I've filled you in on some things that I know. Will really likes Willie Frist. Is it Frist?
It's Fritz.
Fritz, F-R-I-T-Z. He really likes Willie Fritz, the head coach at Tulane. Will's getting paid handsomely at Tulane. Now he would be paid more handsomely at Ole Miss. And money matters. Anybody who says money doesn't matter has never been around money. Money matters. In the words of the great Andy Kennedy, money will not buy happiness, but broke won't buy shit. And that's true. Those are true words from the great philosopher Andrew Kennedy. So, 700 is more than 400. And all things being equal, you take the 700. But I think Will's got to feel really comfortable about the situation, about the stability of the situation, because Tulane's really damn stable. Tulane's really stable. Willie Fritz is not getting fired next year unless he commits some sort of felony. There's no media pressure there. There's no one hanging over you at all times. It's a good job, and he's got it going, and they've built a new stadium and all of that stuff. It's a better job than it's been in the past, and he's done a really good job with it. So that's where things get interesting. The assumption that Will Hall would just come racing home at the drop of a hat, I think is basically true, but not completely true, if that makes any sense. He's got to feel completely comfortable with it. And then I think everyone at Ole Miss has to be completely comfortable with the idea of hiring Will Hall. And as we move forward, that will be interesting to watch because there's more than one person in the decision-making process.
Also up on the board yesterday, so has definitely not stayed premium behind a paywall at this point. I'm sure after this many hours we can definitely talk about it. Looks like Jed Fish also still in the running. We first mentioned him several days ago, I guess probably close to a week ago now that I think about it. I guess not a full week because the coordinator thing happened, but I guess it was Thursday morning when that name first popped up. And it sounds like an interview will happen there as well. Another candidate could still be in play easily. We've never said we know all the candidates or all the inner workings to this thing. I know there's still some. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me interrupt and say this real quick. On Fish, I know that Ole Miss has reached out to him. I know that Ole Miss wants to talk to him and plans to talk to him. What I don't know, it's not because there's nothing to read between the lines here. This is fact. I don't know whether Fish wants the job or whether he's just listening. I know he wants to. I've heard he wants to become a coordinator again, whether that's at the NFL level or the college football level. I know that there's a connection. There's an outside connection here that is an interesting dynamic that we're just not going to dive into right now because it's just not worth diving into right now.
And frankly, I don't know all the workings of it to dive into it, if you know the truth. I'm not sure exactly what it means yet.
Right. I'm not exactly. And until he's the guy, it's really not worth getting everybody worked up about it.
Yeah.
And then there's also, I'm told there's another candidate, and I don't know who that candidate is. I assumed it was Kurt Roper. I don't believe that to be the case any longer. He took a job at North Carolina State yesterday as a quarterback's coach. Good for him.
There's still some small rumblings about Graham Harrell, but I'll be honest, I've heard zero of them from any sort of capacity that would be considered a source.
Yeah, I'll be totally honest. Other than the two names that we just talked about, I've not heard another name that I believe to necessarily be true other than people throw Matt Canada's name out there. That's gotten shot down when I've asked about it.
Yeah. I do not believe Matt Canada is a candidate for this job.
Yeah, I don't either. But is it possible there's another candidate and we don't know of him? Yeah, absolutely, sure.
So that's where we are.
I'm willing to admit that. I mean, I know people would never admit that you don't know everything that's going on in your beat. I don't. I think there is a third candidate. I don't know how serious he is or isn't, and I don't know who he is.
Yeah. My guess is we're going to get to after signing day before any of this pops. I mean, now I'm saying that it could happen in 5 minutes, but my hunch is that we're looking at the end of the week at the earliest, or Thursday at the earliest.
I think if it's Will Hall, it doesn't happen until Thursday. I don't think Will Hall would do that to Tulane the day before signing day.
That could create some chaos.
Well, I just think there's too much respect for Willie Fritz to do anything that might jeopardize their recruiting class. Mm-hmm. Ole Miss and Tulane aren't recruiting the same kids. I don't think Will Hall, the announcement that Will Hall is the next offensive coordinator at Ole Miss, I don't think is, if it came today, hypothetically, I don't think it's changing any recruiting battles. I don't think Nakobe Dean or Brandon Turnage or Charles Clark or anybody else goes, oh, well, that's it. I'm either, yes, I'm firmly in, or now I'm firmly out, or I don't think that. So my guess is that it would not get announced until Thursday at the earliest.
For people that are going to listen to the soft verbal that haven't done it yet, what's kind of the breakdown of what went on with you and Russell?
Well, and I haven't talked to Russell since then, so I don't know whether anything has changed. Russell gave some predictions, and I guess my advice to people listening to the predictions is don't jump. It's going to get better. Whatever it is, it's going to get better. Don't drink the cyanide. Just the sun will rise on Thursday. The world will keep turning. You got to keep a positive outlook. I mean, his outlook's really bad. I mean, he does not. And look, both of us have told Russell individually, because we've done this before. If you have a doubt, side on the negative. Because people will get, let's for example, let's use Nakobe Dean. Russell is predicting Nakobe Dean to Georgia as of when we taped it yesterday, and I haven't seen him change that prediction. If Nakobe Dean signs with Ole Miss, a handful of smartasses will hold that against Russell because they are looking for something to hold against him. Most people will just be so happy that they won't hold that against him. If Russell picks Nakobe Dean to Ole Miss, or says he thinks he's going to Ole Miss, and then Nakobe Dean signs with Georgia, the shoot the messenger is just overwhelming. And so the advice we gave him was, if you have any doubts, if you're 50-50, go the other way. Now, I don't think he's 50-50 on Dean. I think he's more 70-30 or 75-25, and that's me putting numbers in his mouth, not. He didn't say that, but from what I gathered talking to him, I think he thinks Nakobe Dean probably ends up at Georgia. I think he thinks Brandon Turnage sticks with Alabama, and I think he thinks that Radarius Jones goes to LSU, and Charles Clark sticks with Mississippi State.
Charles Cross, I'm sorry. Charles Clark
plays. He's a coach at Ole Miss. Sorry.
Yes.
Names start running together after a while. He didn't have a real positive outlook for what's coming. But some of that is him being careful, which is the smart thing to do.
Speaking of these kids and I guess recruiting, football, whatever, the Mississippi team beat Alabama last night, 24-20, 24-21, something like that, to win their second in a row. They won 3 out of the last 4. They got a good effort from the Connor kid that we've been talking about the last couple of weeks now.
Justin Connor.
Yeah, the running back.
Yeah. I didn't see the game.
I I didn't have it available to me. You know, it's that great thing with state championships and all-star games where you have to have the local cable company and like the dot channels to be able to get it. It's the dangest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they moved this to a Monday night.
You like it on
Honestly.
Saturday afternoon?
Well, I mean, I have the hottest of hot takes.
Okay.
I think the game's meaningless.
I'm not sure that's a hot take. I'm not really sure why somebody thinks it has tons of value per se. But.
No, I mean, if you're a Nakobe Dean, God, I know it's football and you play football because you're a football player, but you get hurt in that thing, you kick yourself. Now, for some kids, it's really a reward and it's an opportunity to play one last football game.
Well,
and that's
for
cool.
some kids, it's a hell of a chance to compete against these other guys and get offers.
It is. I don't have a problem with the game necessarily, but if you want to get max attention on that game, you play it on a Saturday. People are off.
I think in their heads, what they did was they put it at night, and now obviously I get the NFL structure and whatever, but I think in their heads at least, there's no college game on Monday night. You know what I mean? Like you're away from the bowls, you're whatever.
I think what happened this year is Montgomery had their bowl game on Saturday.
Gotcha.
So they moved it to Monday thinking that, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's people. You're never going to get massive attendance at a high school all-star game. The only people that are really going to go are friends and family and the hardest of hardcore recruit people.
I mean, the good news for that game, frankly, is it's become competitive again because Alabama had won it for the majority of the decade, and Mississippi's made a pretty good run over the last 4 or 5 years.
This podcast is brought to you by one of our new sponsors, the Blow Dry Bar in Oxford, Mississippi. Guys, if you're searching for an outside-the-box Christmas, anniversary, or birthday present to any female in your life, this place has your answers. They were voted Best New Business in Oxford in 2018, and they will not disappoint. They have many packages they can put together for women in your life, so give them a call, 662-638-3310. There's a Rebel Grover podcast discount if you tell them about us, and the reason that you are there is, so again, 662-638-3310. Also experience all things Oxford in a week during the 3rd annual Pop-Up Oxford. It's going to be January 19th through 27th. Experience a week-long celebration of Oxford's rich cultural scene of food, art, lectures, and musical performances, Ole Miss basketball, and more during that time period. Again, January 19th through 27th. Also, don't miss the 9th annual Fiber Arts Festival during Pop-Up Oxford. That's going to be January 24th through 27th. The festival features receptions, lecture, demonstrations, children's activities, and classes. Special events during the Pop-Up Oxford include songwriters competitions, Hotel Hop, Art Crawl, Thacker Mountain Radio Hour, MLK Day, featured events, and more. So be sure to go ahead and check out the website at popupoxfordms.com. Also, the podcast is brought to you in part by Community Mortgage, located in Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga, one of the older mortgage companies in the Southeast. Our underwriting and processing is done in Memphis, so you're getting local underwriting that understands your market, a leader in condo financing and the float-down option. You can find Jason Lowe at 662-234-2704 or JLowe, that's JLOWE, at communitymtg.com. Also, don't waste your time with the big chains, the big pharmacy chains. Go somewhere where you're appreciated. That's G&M Pharmacy. They're a locally owned and operated, and they care about their customers. They've been Oxford's trusted hometown pharmacy for 40 years and offer many great services such as MedSync, immunizations, free delivery to your home or workplace, and much more. They're conveniently located right off South Lamar Boulevard here in Oxford. They can transfer your medications easily, so just give them a call at 662-236-2222, and they will take care of the rest. And last but not least, Christmas is almost here, so if you're looking for the perfect gift for the kids, give MasterCuts a call. MasterCuts can make a custom playground that will entertain your kids for years to come, from simple forts to princess castles or pirate ships. Let MasterCuts build a base for your child's imagination to run wild. Reach out and schedule a free meeting to see what MasterCuts can build for you. You give them a call at 662-607-7773 or info@gomastercuts.com. Been a long time with us. They can take care of your yard throughout the year.
And now they're also in the playground building business. They do a great job with that as well. So, again, 662-607-7773. If you're going to play it, at least make it competitive. And frankly, some of that is that Mississippi's doing a better job picking the players.
Well, they've gotten some of the politics out of it. They're taking the best players.
Yeah. Crazy concept, really.
That one year Dante Moncrief didn't play in it because he was an Ole Miss recruit, not a state recruit. It was like, this is stupid.
Yeah, Moncrief not making the Miss-Al game.
That was silly.
Top
still
100 national player.
Later.
Do what now?
He's still in the NFL all these years later. That was stupid then. You knew it was stupid.
I think we asked him about it last summer. I think he kind of laughed it off, but you could tell at the time it probably pissed him off quite a bit.
Oh, well, I'm sure it did. I mean, but they appear to have gotten away from that. They're actually taking the best players, and you're taking the kids who have D1 offers and stuff like that. So, yeah, the game's more competitive, and Mississippi's done well the last few years, and that's good. I don't know. It's in Hattiesburg, I guess, next year.
Yeah, that's the way they alternate.
So I would suggest they play it on a Saturday.
Okay. The big recruiting news or team news around the country last night, the Fields kid at Georgia is transferring. I know no one is necessarily shocked by that per se, but it is just adding to what has become quite the trend. I'm reading here just to give everybody the full scope of this. This is actually from the 247 composite, so all the different recruiting rankings piped in together. The number 1 or number 2 quarterback in the country, at least one of them has transferred every single year since 2010. 8 years in a row. 9 kids over an 8-year period.
Well, it's that deal where these kids, especially at that position, you sign to play. And if you don't play, you got to get out because you're not going to make it to the league not playing. I don't know why Justin Fields signed with them in the first place.
Well, yeah, that was the stupidity of this.
I mean, I guess he wanted to play at Georgia. There probably was incentive to play at Georgia. And I'm sure in his mind as a high school kid, and we always talk about perception and reality, his reality was, in his mind, I'm better than Fromm. I'll beat him out. It's my job. And then he gets there and you find out how far behind you are. And so by the time that realization comes, it's too late and you've spent a year and now he's got to do a transfer year and sit out a year. It's really on him and it's on the people around him. But I'm not surprised that he's leaving. Nobody wants to sit as the backup when you're a 5-star elite prospect. Matt Corral got frustrated early last season. Even though when he signed, he knew he would be the backup. He got frustrated for a while. And they worked through it, and he'll be ready to go, and he's the starter next season. But when you sign these 5-star kids at quarterback, you better be straight with them because you can't – I say this all the time. You can't trick the kids once you get them on campus. And he saw once he was on campus that he was way behind Fromm, and they gave him a series here and a series there trying to keep him. Hell, they gave him a series in the SEC championship game in an attempt to appease him. But he's not going to be their quarterback next season. Jake Fromm's going to be their quarterback next season. So he's staring at another season of being the backup. So I'm not surprised he's transferring.
The kids have to make better decisions. The schools have to be honest with them. The kids have to see through dishonesty. And then also the people around the kids. Look, the kids can do whatever they want. I mean, that's the thing with all this with the Bryant kid or Jalen Hurts or Fields or whomever. Make the decision that pleases you, whatever. I don't care what you do within the rules. But you know going in, so the lack of patience is what is bothering me here. You talk about, not Corral, because he was fine. He wasn't leaving. But Fields and these guys, again, you know the score. And he still, I mean, had he stayed, he still would have gotten a chance before he had to go pro.
But he didn't know the score because he let all these hangers on around him. And that's exactly what it was. The people who wanted their piece. Nobody was willing to say to him, hey, Prom kid's pretty good. He's got a year up on you. He knows the system. He's going to keep getting better too. You do know that if you go to Georgia, there's a chance that you are the backup for 3 years. No, I guarantee you, no one said that to him. And I don't mean Kirby Smart. I'm talking about the other people in his life. No one said that to him.
Yeah.
I guarantee you the people in the Kobe Dean's life right now are not saying, hey, you know, if you go to Alabama, you might be a backup. You might be a special teams player for 2 years. You might not get your chance till you're a junior. I guarantee you no one in his life is telling him that. Because that's not what the kid wants to hear.
Speaking of Dean, a story from Rivals.com this morning. This is, not out of date as of 8:08 a.m. as we're sitting here. It says Nakobe Dean was not driving back home on Monday night after the game. He and his family were going to a hotel to talk things over one more time and make a decision. He says that he will make the final decision on that night or Tuesday morning, and then he will call all coaches on Tuesday morning. So 5 schools will hear no's, 1 school will hear a yes before noon today, according to Dean.
If that happens, it will leak out today.
Yes.
And quite frankly, if you're one of the schools recruiting him, you got to know. Because you've got to make the corresponding call. It's one of the things that's in the soft verbal. I asked Russell, so what does Ole Miss do if they hear no? You know, he talks about where they go from there. What does it mean if he says yes? What do you do if he says no? If you're Alabama, you need to know today. If you're Georgia, you need to know today because you're going to move with that scholarship somewhere else.
Radar Jones telling all his coaches or the college coaches they're recruiting him on Tuesday night by text. So
I don't know how some of these college coaches do it.
What do you mean?
Just having to wait till Tuesday night. I find it difficult. I've always found it difficult to believe that the kid doesn't know where he's going. And if you don't know where you're going on Tuesday night, then don't sign Wednesday morning. Just don't sign.
Plumlee, the kid from Oak Grove, gives a couple quotes on Justin Fields, but nothing of any substance. However, he's not an early signing period kid. He's waiting until February. So,
yeah, and he's one that's doing the smart thing because the landscape changed, and so he's going to wait, take his time, make a couple of visits, survey the new landscape, and make a smart decision.
Ole Miss and State recruiting him harder here in the past few weeks. That list, by the way, from top quarterbacks, if you're interested, Fields obviously from the 18 class. Hunter Johnson was the number 2 quarterback in the 17 class, transferred. In 16, that was Patterson and Eason, the number 1 and number 2 quarterbacks who ended up transferring. In the 15 class was Blake Barnett. He was the number 2 quarterback. Kyle Allen, the number 1 quarterback in 2014's class. Max Brown, the number 1 quarterback in 2013. Gunnar Kiel, the number 2 quarterback in 2012. He had a very strange college career. Jeff Driscoll in 2011 was the number 1 quarterback, and then Philip Sims, the number 1 quarterback in 2010. So all the way back to 2010 at this point.
Also shows you how hard it is to evaluate quarterbacks and how hard it is to find a quarterback.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a little bit of a crapshoot, isn't it?
I mean, it's almost like if you have a really great one, you're better than other teams because you have a great one. Almost.
It's impressive.
Now, Fromm is a different example. He signed with Georgia with Eason there and beat him out.
Yeah, Fixate Eason was the guy who was the starter and still left because he got beat out. Just lost his gig.
Lost his gig and did the smart thing. Said, I'm not going to stay here halfway across the country and be a backup for 3 years. I'm going to go back across the country and get closer to home and sit out a year, and then I'll be the guy. He'll be the guy at Washington next year. He'll probably be really good.
I'm as intrigued by him at Washington as I am anything next year. Just see what that looks like.
He was not ready as a true freshman to be the guy and got thrown in there and kind of ready or not, here we go. And Look, college football's cutthroat, man. You know that. You cover it. I cover it. It's cutthroat. The Nick Sabans and Kirby Smarts of the world at these programs where you can load up on great players, they're going to play the best player.
Guests join our podcast on the Patterson and Earhart hotline. Patterson and Earhart, attorneys at law. They specialize in personal injury law and real estate law, but theirs is a general practice that can handle any of your legal needs. When you contact Patterson and Earhart, you speak to one of the partners in the firm, and that's who will handle your case, not some paralegal at a faceless corporate firm. If Patterson and Earhart can't help you, they'll refer you to someone who can. John Calvin Patterson and Wes Earhart are Ole Miss guys. They're local guys, and when you call them, you're going to get one of them on the phone within the same day, guaranteed. So whether you've been injured in a car wreck or have other legal issues, give them a call, 662-526-1992, or check out their website, pelaws.com. Your initial consultation is free. Podcast also brought to you by Home 2 Suites, South Lamar Court in Oxford. It's ready and open to accommodate your personal or business needs just in time for the holidays. Located at 101 South Lamar Court in Oxford at the intersection of Belk and South Lamar Boulevard. This Hilton property is locally owned and operated by Ole Miss alums. It's just 1 mile from campus, 1.5 miles from the square. If your house is overbooked for the holidays, send your loved ones to stay with the wonderful staff at Home 2 Suites. They will feel right at home in this all-suites property. Each spacious suite has a living area with a sleeper sofa and a fully equipped kitchen. Guests have access to the complimentary breakfast, fully equipped fitness center, a free laundry facility, free Wi-Fi, free parking, and much more. Extended stay rates are available. Hilton Honors points can be earned and redeemed. Also, there's a 625 square foot meeting room available for rentals that comes with all you need for the perfect boardroom meeting, classroom style presentation, or catered meal. For more info, call 662-238-3400 or visit home2oxford.home2suitesbyhilton.com. The podcast also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust, based in Madison, Mississippi, represents clients in 24 states, has advisors in 3 states. Founded in 1997, Pinnacle Trust provides detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. At Pinnacle Trust, investing is treated like a commodity, and decisions are made using objective research and information, not emotions. So regardless of your level of wealth, Pinnacle Trust will sit down with you, listen to your goals, study your expenses, and put forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan. Cookie-cutter financial planners put you in a box. Pinnacle Trust builds a box just for you. To learn more about Pinnacle Trust, go to pintrust.com. That's PINN trust.com. Mention you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast. You'll get 10% off your first year's fee. And it's brought to you by the Westin Jackson. Restore serenity to your soul. Visit Soul Spa, the ultimate luxury spa experience in downtown Jackson. Indulge in personalized massages, signature facials, soothing body treatments, and much more on their extensive spa list. And then gather at Estelle Wine Bar and Bistro, sip on a creative craft cocktail, or enjoy their curated wine list. It's open for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. Chef Caden's mission is to connect guests with the community through local partnerships. So gather at Estelle tonight.
Every time.
Switch topics a little bit. Thought this was a little interesting yesterday. Buddy sent it to me. College basketball this season. We talk about lines in Vegas all the time. College basketball teams against the spread sorted by cover percentage. Got me? You with me?
Say it again.
All right. College basketball against the spread. So teams' rankings assorted by cover percentage. Got it?
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Number 1 nationally, Ole Miss.
Yeah, they're like, what?
9-1 against the spread.
9-1 against the line, yeah.
That's interesting. Ole Miss 9-1, Samford 9-1, Oklahoma 8-1, Liberty 7-1, Georgia Tech was 7-1 prior to last night. They lost. San Francisco 7-1-2, and then 4 teams at 6-1: Murray State, IUP, IU, the Citadel, and Drake. I think Drake might have been one of the teams on that document I had one time. Here's what this is. You tell me which one you believe, okay? And maybe it's both.
Okay.
But I just, in discussing this, I thought it was kind of interesting. So is it that Ole Miss was so, I don't know, undervalued's the word, not seen as whatever coming into the season, that they are still taking advantage from a Vegas standpoint of that perception? Or is it Vegas is adjusting the line already and Ole Miss has just done a nice job of not playing down to competition and frankly improving as a team as this thing has moved forward? Because these lines are adjustable. At some point in the season, you have to exceed expectations to continue to cover betting lines.
Oh, yeah. Because the lines adjust as you get better.
Right.
Look, Ole Miss is a couple of things. One, they're playing defense at a really high level. And they have good guards. And in college basketball, if you have good guards and you play good defense, you're in a lot of games. I asked Chris Dortch about this. Those of you who don't normally listen to the Beer Garden, it's a lot of Ole Miss in this one about basketball. So if you're interested, you should listen to this one. There's no NBA talk. You can rest assured. He talks about Ole Miss. I mean, he thinks this team has a chance to be a postseason team. Now, he's careful not to say which postseason because he acknowledges the league is really hard. And Chris knows what he's watching when he watches it. And he knows that post play is a potential problem for Ole Miss in a league where there is good post play. But he gives them a chance because they're playing so well on the defensive side, and the way the schedule works out, it's possible.
So looking ahead a little bit, Jeffrey sent this to me last night. I believe it is Ken Palm. His schedule the rest of the way, and anybody that is familiar with that, he does the percentage chance of victory in each game the rest of the way and gives you an analytical percentage to it. So here's the problem for Ole Miss, where they have to continue to get better, and we talk about post-play and all these things, but just from a straight numbers perspective, they have an 85% chance, according to Ken Palm, of beating Middle Tennessee on the road in Nashville. By the way, that is not a complete away game from a metric standpoint. It is called a semi-away game. That happens from time to time, so just heads up there from a number standpoint. And then,
technically for Ole Miss, it's going to end up the way it's going to end up being judged. This from the SEC office, it's going to be judged as a neutral site game.
Is it really? Okay.
Yeah.
Seems unfair, but sure.
Yeah, it's a technicality that when the contract was written years ago, ironically, Kermit Davis was the coach at Middle when he and Andy did this deal, and they lined up SEC officials for this game. And the fact that they have SEC officials stops it from being a true road game.
Really?
Yep.
Who knew? Okay. 85% chance on that one. Go ahead.
The funny thing is, I don't think either Andy or Kermit knew when they did the deal.
Gotcha.
I don't think either one of them knew it.
So Florida Gulf Coast back at home, 91% chance of winning the game. They are projecting an 84-69 win in that one, if you're curious, for the Rebels. But then you get into league play. And this is where it's interesting because this factors in up to date how Ole Miss has started, which is pretty well to this point. And I did some quick math. Ken Palm has Ole Miss, and all I'm doing is taking if it's 50% or higher, giving them the win. If it's 49 or lower, giving them the loss. And actually, there's no 50, so 51. And 7-11 is what you come out with in the SEC. And the problem for Kermit a little bit, if this went chalk, and again, it's not going to go chalk, we're just talking, is that they would start 0-3 in the league. And that's going to be some of this is just keeping this team kind of together for a team that so far they've been very cohesive with Kermit. But frankly, a team that was pretty fragile in the past, and they haven't hit real adversity yet. So I am still curious what happens when they have a rough week.
Oh, I am too. And when we always look for the positive, and there's a scenario for this to work out. There's also a scenario for this to get sticky, which is he coaches hard, and when they lose a few in a row, and the freshmen hit the wall, and guys like Ole Miss, who's not the most confident guy in the world, starts having some confidence issues and things get a little fragile, how do they respond through that? I'm not saying that's going to happen, but you don't have to be a super negative person to paint a very realistic negative picture. So I am curious to see how that would play out. So 7-11, what does he have them doing against Iowa State?
Yeah, I'm going to run through this a little bit. Iowa State will lead me into my next point. He has Ole Miss at a 43% chance of beating Iowa State. And Ole Miss's path to being really in the tournament conversation is winning every game they're supposed to win, which is very hard to do, and then going probably 4-2 in games where they have between a 40 and 50% chance of winning the game, if that makes sense. Stealing those where you're a slight underdog in them. That's kind of the only way you can get into that 10-11 win SEC stretch is to go 4-2 in the games with at least a 40% chance, but not being a favorite. Because that would give you these. So,
okay.
Vanderbilt on the road to open league play, he gives them a 40% chance. At home to Auburn, he gives them a 35% chance.
Yeah, Auburn's really good.
Mississippi State away from home gives them a 21% chance.
Yeah.
Then he has them sweeping a home stand against LSU and Arkansas at 57% and 58%.
Okay.
A loss to Alabama on the road at 43%.
Yeah, Alabama's not been quite as good as people thought they were, but be careful with that because they're still good.
Okay. Iowa State, 43%. Florida on the road, 23%.
Be really tough.
Mississippi State at home, 43%.
That's one. If you tell me that this team makes the NCAA tournament,
that's one that is an
absolute must-win game. It's a home game, and it would be a really good RPI game.
Texas A&M at home, 69%.
Yeah.
Georgia on the road, 55%. That's a win.
Yeah. If you told me this team makes the NCAA tournament, that's another must-win game.
16% at Auburn. They're not winning that basketball game.
No.
Missouri at home, 71%.
Yep.
South Carolina on the road, 51%. They have to win that basketball game.
No doubt about it.
Georgia at home, 78%. Tennessee at home, 33%.
Yeah, Tennessee is so good in the post, Chase.
Yeah. Arkansas away from home, 34%. And then two at the end that I want to see how this first team is playing, and then if they're in the conversation, frankly, two they're going to have to get, and it would be entertaining if nothing else to watch them be in this situation. Kentucky on senior night at home, 41%, and then at Missouri to close the year, 47%.
Oh, if you told me that they went into the last week having to win those two games, I'd believe it. And they're two winnable games.
If you went into that portion 8-8.
Kentucky's good.
But they're not Kentucky.
But they're not yet.
They might be then. Frankly, they're Ole Miss always complained about opening with Kentucky. You'd really like to open with Kentucky right now.
Oh, you'd love to play them right now. It's going to be, if your expectations, I've said this all year, if your expectations for this team are the NCAA tournament, you're probably going to be really disappointed, and that's on you. If your expectations for this team is that they're really competitive and that they scrap and they claw and they make it interesting, you might be really pleased and good for you. But if you're thinking this team's a 13-5 SEC team that cruises into the NCAA tournament, well, that's just on you. That's your fault. You did that to yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but it'd be like right now me going, I tell you what, man, I'm really expecting Bryce Harper to the Cubs. Well, that would be stupid. That's on me. But if I say, well, maybe if the market sort of plays out just right, maybe he kind of does some 2-year deal and pushes free agency back till he's 28. Okay. Maybe I've got a chance maybe to be pleasantly surprised. So if you're saying to yourself, hey, we might make a run at it, cool. You got a chance to be pleased. But if you're, gosh, man, we went on a 28-0 run against Chattanooga. Look out, Tennessee. You're probably going to be really disappointed, and you deserve to be.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, I think a certain expect. If you walk into the bar and you look like me and you expect to walk out with the prettiest girls, you're probably going to be disappointed, and that's on you.
Well, if you just gotten that confidence they offered you with the shallow how thing, you'd be in business.
Yeah, I know. I still think that there would be a problem with the fact that there would also be a reality. There would be a perception, and then there would be a reality.
We're going through stats today. Here's a stat for you. So after last night's win for the Saints, Peyton and Breeze became the second all-time winningest coach-quarterback duo with their 117th regular season win together.
Yes.
They're only down by 88 games to number one. They have 117, which is number two, and they trail number one by 88 games.
Who's number one? Is it like Walsh in Montana?
It would be Brady and Belichick.
Oh, yeah, God. He'll be an idiot.
Yeah. That is nuts. Just a little stat for you there. You know, Saints winning with defense these days, it makes lots of sense, and I don't know.
Well, what you saw with the Saints last night was just how important home field is.
Well, it's a couple different things last night. It was that, no doubt. Road games are hard. Duh. Two, they've got to get Armstead healthy. Their offensive line has severe breakdowns, and it all starts with getting Armstead back at left tackle because it allowed the Panthers to get a lot of push up the middle because of the shuffling. They made Breeze uncomfortable. He did not have a very good night. And then also, they need, I'm not sure what his status is. They need Ted Ginn back. The wide receivers being all these journeymen is really cute. But at some point, you've got to get some separation. And a lot of the young guys, the inexperienced guys, are really struggling with separation right now at receiver. And it's creating a lot of problems. They're they probably going to have to rely on the run game a little bit. And then, you know, last night, Peyton got stupid too. I mean, he does so many good things, and everybody goes, oh, you know, they roll your eyes when you even start to criticize. But there's no reason the punt returner should have gotten the ball around the goal line right there instead of giving that thing to Hill or Kamara or Ingram or somebody else when they fumble through the end zone. He has fumbling problems as the returner, and he was carrying the ball on the goal line. It does make you scratch your head a little bit.
Yeah, he does have the tendency to get way too cute. He does have a tendency to get away from the bread and the butter and to go to some funky gluten-free sort of thing.
But they have 2 home games remaining this season to end the regular season, and if they do anything at all or get a touch of help, they're never going to have to leave the Dome again except to go to Atlanta if they won that many in a row.
They're 1 win away from home field, right?
Yeah, they're 1 win or 1 Bears loss.
Yeah.
The Rams can't catch them by themselves. So the Rams only factor in, well, I guess the Rams could because they have 1 more, we have 1 loss. Yeah, 1 win would do it, but all 3 teams technically still have a path to the number 1 seed. Put it that way.
If I'm the Saints, I beat the Steelers, and then Drew Brees. There would be a lot of Drew Brees jerseys in the Superdome when they played the Panthers in the final.
Uh-huh.
And Drew Brees would not be one of those people.
You don't even put it in his locker for the week.
I don't let Drew Brees wear a jersey.
Hey, here's a thing.
I don't let him put on cleats.
Yeah.
I really don't even let him stand on the sideline.
He can go sit in the owner's
I
box.
would sit up in the press box in the offensive room, but I would not put headphones on him because those things might hurt his ears. I would just be I would wrap him in bubble wrap. The more I think about it, I would let him stay home, and I'd make sure his kids didn't jump on him.
Bring the kids to the game.
Yeah, I would bring the kids to the game, and I can't remember his wife's name. I would let them have just a nice, casual Sunday afternoon, maybe cater a meal in for them, but cut it into small pieces so that he doesn't choke. And just let him relax. Let the kids come to the game and get all their energy out.
Last night was somewhat of a product of Cam Newton being injured and the Panthers, frankly, just not being very good as they lost their 6th in a row. But the Saints scored their fewest points in a win last night. Do what?
His shoulder's really bothering.
Yeah, no doubt. The Saints scored their fewest points in a win since 1998. However, since Week 10 of this season, the Saints have been the NFL's best scoring defense, holding opponents to only 12.3 points per game.
We've talked about this a few times, like getting ready to start. It's why I think it's the best team that I think it's the best team they've had. And I think this team's better than the Super Bowl team. And early in the year, their defense struggled, but like you just pointed out statistically, they've been very, very good. Really, the majority of the season, to the point where it's funny because I listen to a lot of like Chicago radio because of the Cubs and stuff, and Bears fans will do this thing where they're tricking themselves, where there's like, well, the Saints, their defense isn't very good, so if we can just score, and it's like, yeah. I don't think you're catching the fact that the Saints defense is really good. If the Saints defense wasn't really good, I'd be worried about them. But the fact that their defense is that good and that you're going to have the playoffs in New Orleans, to me, they're the prohibitive favorite.
Yeah, they're comfortable in any type of game right now. I think that's number one because a lot of teams are not that. And it's been a swing. I mean, if anything, I'm worried about the offense a little right now just because what I've talked about. But I do think Armstead's that important. So when he's back, he practiced on Thursday. He didn't play last night. But he's starting to practice again. They'll get him back for games that mattered, it looks like. And that's going to change all the dynamics because I don't know what the split was. But whatever the split was this season, in the first half of that, or in the first segment of that, the defense was 28th national or in the league, and the offense was second. Since the second part of that splice, the offense has been 26th in the league, and the defense has been third. Complete flip.
Yeah. So. I like their chances. I think they're the best team in the NFC. I think they're the best team in the NFL. I've watched them all year. I mean, I don't think they're unbeatable, but I think it would take an incredibly special effort from the Bears. And I think it would require Jared Goff to have the game of his life.
I would trade potentially an appendage for Akeem Hicks back to put him on that defensive line.
He would be really good to have, especially against the Bears, because they can get their running game going. And a running game obviously keeps Drew Brees on the bench, and a running game shortens the game. And it gives a team like the Bears an opportunity. But I've watched the Bears a lot this year. I joked about it early, and I've kind of gotten into them. I think they're a year away from being a true title contender. They're good. They're scary. And their defense is good enough to do it. But I don't know that Trubisky's quite there yet.
The ESPN moved the Chargers to number 2 in their power ranking this morning. I saw the Saints still at number 1, and then the Chargers at 2, Chiefs at 3. And then here's a little interesting, just from the standpoint of the NFC playoffs. Everybody's kind of got this tier system in place because the Rams are at 4, the Bears are at 5, both very, very good football teams. There's not another NFC team all the way down to 11. 6 through 10 are all AFC teams.
The podcast is also brought to you by John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you've been thinking about that golf trip with the guys, an anniversary trip she'll never forget, trips to Florida, the Caribbean, Ireland, Scotland, whatever it may be, get in touch with John. He's part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners that allows him to supply his clients with added values and unique benefits that are simply not available to other travelers. John traveled the globe for 37 years before he got into the travel business. He knows the extra attention that's needed to make a special trip one that creates a lifetime of unique memories. So give him a call, give him your parameters, a budget, and let him have some options, and he'll give you all the options that you could want. He'll do all the research for you. 901-494-3387, or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. Also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, look no further than Grenada Nissan. They have a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Go in, test drive one today. Tell Gene and Sandy that you heard about Grenada Nissan on the podcast at rebelgrove.com. You'll get Rebel savings on top of the already great deals at Grenada Nissan. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. We're also brought to you by Harry Alexander. Harry is an Oxford-based RE/MAX legacy realty agent. He's been in Oxford more than 4 decades. No one knows the residential and condo market in Oxford better than Harry. Go to his site. He'll prove it to you. HarryAlexander.com. Click on the Properties and Neighborhoods tab. Filter through by what you are looking for, and then he'll take care of the rest. It's HA@HarryAlexander.com. And the podcast is brought to you by Oxford University Bank. OUB is locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB gives you the comfort of home, all the benefits the big mega banks provide, all the technology and products you want, all with the personal touch. When you call OUB, you speak directly with the live person. There's no 10 buttons. There's no 5-minute wait. What there is Kasasa. Kasasa is the absolute best checking account you'll find. OUB pays customers 2.5% interest on their balances up to $50,000 with Kasasa. And with Kasasa, ATM fees nationwide are refunded. OUB also has a commercial checking account now paying 1% interest as long as you keep $10,000 in the account. It comes with fully interactive online banking, remote check deposits, and so much more. Get in touch with someone at OUB, 662-234-6668, or check out liveoxfordbankoxford.com. OUB is FDIC insured.
Who are the 6 through 10?
So 6 through 10 is the Texans at 6, the Patriots at 7, the Steelers at 8, the Colts at 9, and the Ravens at 10. Seahawks at 11, Cowboys at 12, Vikings at 13.
It shows you, as much as the NFL loves to do the parity thing, and it is what makes the league great, is that there are teams like the Bears every year that become a contender kind of overnight. When you look at the NFL list and say who's a legitimate contender to win the Super Bowl, it's a very short list.
It's hard to get past 7 teams.
Well, I mean, start at number 1. The Saints are a legitimate contender to win the Super Bowl, no doubt.
Chargers.
Yes.
Chiefs.
Kinda.
Yes, but I understand it. Yeah. You want to see it. Rams.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. They are. No doubt. Bears.
No.
I'm a yes, but with them with the Chiefs. But okay. Texans.
To win the Super Bowl.
To get to the Super Bowl.
Texans, yes.
Patriots.
No.
Steelers.
No.
Colts.
No.
So we're done.
Yeah.
Ravens, Seahawks, Cowboys, Vikings, Titans, Eagles,
No.
Panthers.
No. I mean, like, you watched the Panthers last night. There's no way that team wins 4 playoff games. No chance.
I think they're eliminated now anyway, so it doesn't matter. But
Yeah, but that team, the Eagles. Now, the Eagles would be scary as hell in a playoff game, but do I think they could win 4 playoff games? I don't. The Titans, very scary in a playoff game, but do I think they could win 4 playoff games? I don't.
I do love Christian McCaffrey from the Panthers, though.
Absolutely.
He's been terrific. So.
He cares. He plays hard.
He does. So, anyway, there's your NFL for the day. Yeah, it was weird. I watched the game all night, and I kind of thought, well, they're probably going to win the game, but, geez, this is really ugly. Just wasn't whatever, so. Anyway, I see there's already been some negative reaction to the soft verbal this morning as it's popping up on RebelGrove.com.
Well, I feared there would be, but I don't know that it's our job to be propagandists. I mean, I know there are people that are hopeful about Nakobe Dean, but I don't know where you go get that. I mean, we talk to people who talk to people. I don't know anyone who is anything more than hopeful I really don't know anyone who's optimistic. Do you?
I know people that go, it could go either way, or maybe.
Yeah.
That's about it. I mean, yeah, because that's the thing. Like, a lot of people read it as, oh, there's no chance. So that's not what we're saying. I'm not saying there's no chance at all. Say, what would you pick? That's different. So.
Well, and look, at the risk of being a jackass here, since 2013, Ole Miss hasn't closed well.
They haven't? That's right.
I mean, for a number of reasons. But they haven't. And so to sit here and say, well, here's this kid who has never listed Ole Miss as number one, and it's down to Alabama, Georgia, and Ole Miss, and everyone wants him to say, to go out on the limb, if you're a guy like Russell, and go, I'm going to pick Nakobe Dean to go to Ole Miss, and then he goes to Georgia, and you get destroyed. Why do that to yourself? The metrics and everything point towards Georgia.
Yeah, because
Alabama.
I'm not hearing a lot of Alabama buzz either.
Alabama thinks he's going to Georgia.
And by the way, he's tomorrow afternoon, so you're not. I mean, again, things could leak out, but from an announcement standpoint, it's going to be after lunch. So don't expect something at 9 a.m. in the morning. Official. Just a note there. Turnage is in the morning, and I think all the Horn Lake kids are in the afternoon.
Yeah, they're already beating him up. It's the part. If I ever do recruiting again, I won't make predictions. I'll never do a prediction piece.
Okay.
I would never do a probability piece.
Little stat for you out there: getting fired sometimes pays off. Manchester United, their guy Jose, and how you pronounce it?
I'm not sure.
You're the soccer guy of the group. Anyway,
I don't know about that.
His buyout.
And he could guide us through all this.
Okay, well, his buyout is $28 million. And that means that now in career severance packages, not salary, just severance packages, this dude has made $60 million in his life.
Somebody's got to figure it out.
Dude. As Jeffrey just tweeted, this man is a model for what I hope to become. 60 million.
I was going to sing the "Did You Ever Know That You're My Hero" song.
Yeah, that's nuts.
It's awesome.
Just crazy. I don't know. Oh, gosh. Anyway, little news. All-American list starting to come out for some reasons because the season's still 2 months away. Parker Caracci and Ryan Olenek, both named preseason All-Americans by somebody. Collegiate Baseball newspaper, I think. That's usually the site that has no idea what's going on, but still pointing it out because it ran across my Twitter feed a minute ago.
They're both really good college players.
They are. Ole Miss appears to have set a record for season ticket sales in baseball this season. They're going to be good. Going to be one strange team to cover. I still feel certain about that. So, not necessarily ready for that one yet. Need a little time before we're jumping off into the baseball section of this beat.
Yeah, and it's going to be a funky season just because of the dynamics.
Tough schedule, a lot of fun games, but
they're going to be really good. And there's going to be lots of sarcasm and lots of snark and lots of people defending or protecting themselves from a potential disappointment. There's going to be a lot of talk about it being a must-win this and a must-win that and a win or else.
And must-win games will not happen prior to June.
No.
That game in mid-April will not be a must-win game.
No. There will be meltdowns and stuff.
But because of all the angst from off last year, I mean, We're set up for one of those prime message board nights when they lose to Southern Miss on a Tuesday. I mean, just a great one.
Are you sending me to Hoover again this year, or are you going to go? What's the plan?
I don't think the subscribers will let me go. I think I'm not allowed.
Okay.
So I think that's.
I can go to Hoover and test the theory.
Can you? If you wake up on Sunday morning in Hoover again, it's going to get a little weird.
Yeah, unless it rains. I'm not sitting through a 6-hour rain delay. Nope.
February 19th, Ole Miss plays Arkansas State at home at 4 o'clock. That'd be a good message board loss, wouldn't it? The fourth game of the season.
Yep.
Some freshman out on the mound for his first career start.
Yeah.
Because they open against Wright State, and then they play Arkansas State at home. And then they go to Tulane the next weekend. I'll bite the bullet and go to that series.
Yeah, bless your heart.
And then Long Beach back in Oxford to complete that home and home. Just kind of looking at it. Got that Wednesday night game, just a random Wednesday against East Carolina with Godwin coming back to Oxford. It's got to be that East Carolina's headed to some conference game the next day or something, right?
I would think.
Maybe they play at Memphis that weekend or something.
That's good. I would think, and yeah, just a chance for him to come see friends and stuff.
Okay. UAB's a weekend series this year. They've got the 2 days, the midweek spring break trip to Louisville. They've done that 2 other times during Dan's tenure there. So they'll play a Tuesday night game in Louisville, and then they'll play the Wednesday Kids Day game at Louisville on Wednesday before coming back home. That's how that will work. And then they open conference play with Alabama. So you can go late March to Columbia and see your friend Gabe when they play at Missouri.
I could, probably won't, but could.
Well, because you're going to go to Fayetteville the next week after that.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Fayetteville, so that eliminates Columbia. I'll go. Well,
you can go to Columbia and just stay up there and go back down to Fayetteville.
I could, but I probably won't. I will. I'll go to at least 2 of the games in Fayetteville. I'll go to Friday and Saturday, and we'll see what Sunday brings.
What is there left to kind of show Campbell at this point? I know she's seen everything, but what's sort of the plan the rest of the time?
Just to go continue to get familiar, make friends, meet people, so that August deal is less traumatic for her mother and I than it is.
SEC got a pretty good win last night. Vanderbilt beating Arizona State by 16 last night. Who Ole Miss opens conference play with, and an Arizona State team that kind of fumbled through Georgia a couple nights before that. Maybe the Sun Devils aren't as good as they're getting credit for, but I don't know. We'll see. I did not watch any of that game, but I found that 2-game swing against the SEC and frankly 2 of the weaker SEC teams to be a little weird.
Yeah, look, we started this. The SEC's good. This could be what ends up being a really good Ole Miss basketball team that goes 7-11. You can look back at 7-11 and go, they're a pretty good team. It's really going to be a challenging league.
Arizona State did beat Mississippi State. I believe that State's only loss. They beat them 72-67 a few weeks ago. And then Arizona State only has a 72-66, pretty close game lost to Nevada, who is ranked number 6 nationally. I did not realize Nevada was ranked 6th, but they are.
It's a big win for Vandy, and Vandy's kind of – Chris talks about this in the beer garden. Vandy's kind of starting to figure it out since losing I never can remember the kid's name, the point guard, Darius Garland. Okay. They lost him to the knee injury, and for a while they were really shook. They're kind of starting to regain an identity. They're a deep, talented team.
Arizona State probably going to lose 2 in a row. They've got a home game against the Kansas Jayhawks on the 22nd as their next game.
Yeah, that probably won't end well for them.
Credit to them from a scheduling standpoint, though. Good grief. You look at their schedule. They played Mississippi State. They played Nevada. They played Georgia. They played Vanderbilt. And they're playing Kansas.
Smart.
Can't say they're not going at some people. Now, I mean, I guess they have road games so that guy can rank them, like some other teams. Did you see that the other day? So the columnist for the Lansing Journal, I believe, he has an arbitrary date in December where if a team has not played a true road game, no matter who they've played on neutral sites, if they haven't played a true road game, he will not rank them. So he didn't rank Auburn, Duke, Tennessee, and somebody else this week.
I mean, it's a nice hill to go die on, but it's sort of stupid. I mean,
it's stupid when you've got so many neutral site, really competitive games.
Yeah, when you've seen the teams and you know what they look like. I mean,
if you go to Hawaii and beat Duke, that's a quality win.
Yeah, there aren't 25 teams better than Gonzaga, for God's sake. There aren't 25 teams better than Tennessee or Auburn. It's just, and you know that. So
if you haven't left your own arena, I'd say kind of okay. Or if you had ducked any quality team whatsoever, okay. But going to Hawaii and playing Duke is a whole lot better than going to freaking Tulane or Monroe and playing a road game.
You ever been to UN Coliseum?
I've never been to UN Coliseum.
I'm going to tell you, it's a hard place to go get a win.
Is it?
When was the last time you saw Duke play at ULM? When was the last time you saw Kentucky go to Monroe? When was the last time you saw Gonzaga go to Monroe? When was the last time you saw Florida go to Monroe?
So you think they're ducking them?
I don't think it. The numbers absolutely tell that story.
Duke will not give Monroe a home and home.
Duke will not go to Monroe.
No. Is it UNO that has the bar on the court? Or like right off the court or whatever?
I think so. And that's brilliant.
Okay. I think it's UNO. Ole Miss might have played down there years ago. I don't know. Anyway. All right. Well, safe trip, rebelgrove.com. Early signing period tomorrow. As everybody knows, we'll have coverage of that with Russell. The press conference will be mid-afternoon, I think, something like that, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, somewhere in there. I haven't gotten an email about it yet. And then we will have plenty more. Any updates on the offensive coordinator search, we'll bring those to you as well. But that is where it stands as of about 9 a.m. on this Tuesday morning. So Soft Verbal, Beer Garden later, all those from MPW Digital. And we'll talk to you again soon.